In this video, we're going to talk about congruent statements and matching corresponding parts. A congruent statement is simply a statement where you say triangle, insert your three letters there, is congruent to triangle, insert your three letters there. What you have to be sure of is that this angle matches that angle, the second angle matches the second angle, so on and so forth. Which leads us to our discussion about corresponding parts. There's a total of 6 corresponding parts when you have two congruent triangles. 3 of those parts are sides, and 3 of those parts are angles. Which means if you have two congruent triangles, you have 3 sides that are congruent to each other and 3 angles that are congruent to each other. So let's take a peek at some questions. They want us to name the corresponding part. Well, they're telling us triangle RQP is congruent to triangle RQH. We have angle PRQ. PRQ is this angle right here, PRQ. If you look at our congruency statement, PRQ, that's last, first, middle. If I go last, first, middle here, that's angle HRQ. It would be congruent to that angle right there. In number 26, they're telling us triangle SRQ is congruent to triangle XYZ. Here they're giving us a line segment SR. SR is the first letter and the second letter, which means it corresponds to the first letter and second letter over here, which are XY. You have to make sure you put them in the proper order and add the segment symbol. In number 27, they want to know which part corresponds with segment JI. Well, J is the last letter and I is the first letter. You take the same over here, line segment YW. In 28, they're asking us which segment is congruent to RQ. RQ is the second and last letter, which means we take our second and last letter over here, JK, line segment above it. What they want us to do in this next set is mark the angles and sides of each pair of triangles to indicate that they're congruent. Well, we have triangle ZYX is congruent to triangle YZS. Angle Z, let's do this again. Angle S is congruent to angle X, so I can put one mark there and one mark there. They're saying that angle Y of this triangle is congruent to angle Z of this triangle. So angle Y of this triangle is congruent to triangle Z of this triangle. And likewise, the last would be the same. If I look at the first 2 letters, ZY, that's congruent to YZ. Well, if you notice ZY, YZ, that's the reflexive property. YX, ZS, YX, and ZS. I'm going to put one mark there. And I have ZX, YS. ZX, put 3 marks there. YS, 3 marks there. Let's look at 2 that don't necessarily touch each other. We have angle BCD is congruent to angle RDQ. Here they're telling us angle B is congruent to angle R, so we'll put one arc there and one arc there. Angle C in the left triangle is congruent to angle D in the right triangle. And angle D in the left triangle is congruent to Q in the right triangle. 3 marks there, 3 arcs there. Here they're telling us BC is congruent to RD. BC is congruent to RD. CD, this side right here, is congruent to DQ, this side right here. And BD is congruent to RQ. You need to make sure you have 6 markings on each triangle. Again, there's 3 angles and 3 sides. Keep in mind that the angles have different markings, 1, 2, and 3 arcs respectively, 1, 2, and 3 tick marks respectively, to show that they're different lengths. Here they want us to write a congruency statement that indicates the triangles are congruent. So what they're asking us to do is say triangle such and such is congruent to triangle such and such. Well, let's match up some letters here. Let's go with, on the top triangle, let's go F-E-I. If you notice here, F has 2 arcs. I'm going to match it with angle J over here that has 2 marks. Angle E has 3. Angle K has 3. Angle I has 1. Angle I has 1. For my second set of triangles here, again, keep in mind that the letters have to match up in each respective spot. So it can go any order you'd like. Let's go I, J, K. I has 1 arc, X has 1 mark, J has 2, and Y has 2. And K has 3, and W has 3. Let's do one more. Let's go triangle RQP. R has 1 arc, and U has 1 arc, so U would be first here. Q has 2 arcs, T has 2 arcs, and P on the left triangle has 3 marks, and P on the right triangle has 3 marks. Again, keep in mind that you have to match up the corresponding angles when you're writing a congruency statement.